Coming your way on the 49ers Report, we're going to preview the Niners' first-round playoff matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. But first, are you feeling the upset? Do you think that San Francisco can upset Dallas? If so, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and let's break this game down. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. If you're like me, you didn't sleep much last night, but on this fine Monday morning, you're working off the adrenaline because that Niners comeback over the Rams, absolutely epic, which now sets up a first-round matchup against the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World in a matchup that I believe San Francisco can pull off the upset. Now, if you're waking up on this Monday morning thinking, am I dreaming with what transpired yesterday at SoFi Stadium in which the faithful, the Niner gang, made that game on the road feel like a home game? You are not dreaming. A must-win game on the road. 49ers able to overcome a 17-0 deficit early in that matchup. They beat the Rams for the sixth consecutive time as Kyle Shanahan continues to own Sean McVay as his daddy. And we have to give Jimmy Garoppolo his flowers. He looked uncomfortable early in that matchup. Didn't really look comfortable throwing the football, but he was able to make some adjustments. He settled in, and he played one of the more clutch games that he has ever played in his professional career, especially his tenure in San Francisco. You take a look at the NFC Playoff Picture. Everything is set right now, as well as all of these matchups going into Super Wild Card Weekend. Green Bay Packers locked up that number 1 seed a couple weeks ago. Then there was some shuffling in those 2, 3, 4 spots. Tampa Bay Buccaneers led by Tom Brady, 13-4. They get that 2 seed. Dallas Cowboys drop back to number 3. They finished the year at 12-5. Los Angeles Rams, because they lost to the San Francisco 49ers, dropped to 4th. And how about the Arizona Cardinals? Continuing to reel down the stretch. They fall in the final week of the regular season to the Seattle Seahawks. So now we have a first-round NFC West rivalry game between the Rams and the Cardinals. Eagles, San Francisco rounding out things in that wild card playoff picture. So all of the playoff matchups, Bucks against the Eagles, Cowboys against the Niners, Rams against the Cardinals on Monday night, Green Bay Packers, the road to the Lombardi Trophy, going to go through Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra, for the second consecutive year. Now, when you take a look at the betting matchup between the 49ers and the Cowboys, I do think this is fascinating, and I'm interested to see if the odds change and fluctuate all throughout the week. The over-under pretty high for a playoff game because sometimes they can be low scoring at 49.5. And as I alluded to earlier, Dallas Cowboys go into this matchup at home as 3-point favorites. Now, when you dissect what the Cowboys are doing right now and the trajectory that they're on as compared to San Francisco, these are two teams who are playing good football and a solid brand of football when they need to the most. Cowboys' last 5 games, it includes them throughout this year, going undefeated against the NFC East. Week 14 took down Washington. Week 15, the hapless Giants. Once again in Week 16, a win against the Washington football team. Lost against the Arizona Cardinals, which could be a future playoff rematch if the Cardinals are able to upset the Rams and the Cowboys take down the Niners. We will see. That was a bad matchup for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's why I think that the 49ers match up well with Dallas, and then they rounded out the regular season with a dominant win against all of the Eagles' backups. San Francisco on a similar path. They have really, the last 2+ months, been one of the hottest teams in the National Football League. That win against the Cincinnati Bengals looks even better in overtime now than it did back in Week 14 because the Bengals have been humming. Took care of business against the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons couldn't take care of business against the Saints, but it didn't matter because the Niners came through clutch. Week 16 loss against the Tennessee Titans on Thursday Night Football, which could have ended up being a backbreaker if the Niners didn't make it into the playoffs. Then to round out the year, a win against the Texans thanks to Trey Lance, and a win against the Rams in epic comeback fashion. As we continue to preview this game and break it all down with all of the latest storylines, getting into Trent Williams injury news, who you got? I want to see where the fan base is at going into Sunday at AT&T Stadium. Do you think the Niners can pull off the upset? Type 4 if you think the Niners are going to be victorious. Type C for the Cowboys. Make sure you get your predictions in the comment section down below. Now, if you want to bet on this game, because I can assure you I'm going to be laying down some money with this game as well, you can do so thanks to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head to chatsports.com/49bet. Enter the promo code Niners125 for a 125% deposit bonus. Chase, what does that even mean? Well, sports gambling has become very popular in every pocket of the United States, but that 125% deposit bonus applies for anybody, no matter where you live. Let's say you put down $100, you get an additional $125 back. Betting odds, once again, Dallas going into this matchup as the home team, 3-point favorites, which is somewhat normal protocol for the home teams in the playoffs. And then the over-under set at 49.5. Get those bets in using that link down below, as well as that promo code Niners125. Here's why I think San Francisco can be victorious in the Super Wild Card matchup. San Francisco is hot at the right time, and really, over the last several weeks, they have been playing a style of football that I believe translates to playoff football. Physical, run game, they have a really good pass rush, and I think that Kyle Shanahan and DeMeco Ryans have done wonders in terms of the coaching staff. Also another matchup I'm looking at. Cowboys offensive line against the 49ers defensive line. The interior of the Cowboys offensive line can be Jekyll and Hyde, and a big reason for the Niners' success over the last several weeks, they've been able to really generate a pass rush knowing that their secondary is somewhat weak. And what I give DeMeco Ryans credit for is changing players from the edge to the interior, whether that be Eric Armstead, who has unleashed, Nick Bosa, Arden Key. A lot of players can play the edge, they can also play the interior, and that matchup can be exploited to confuse the Cowboys' offensive line. Dallas's run defense can also be iffy at times, and the bread and butter for Kyle Shanahan's outside zone scheme is running the football, whether that be Elijah Mitchell or Deebo Samuel, who once again was terrific yesterday. That touchdown carry, absolutely fantastic. And look, when you break down Kyle Shanahan against Mike McCarthy, I think that you give the coaching edge to Kyle Shanahan. Mike McCarthy's game management has been putrid, not just throughout his tenure with the Dallas Cowboys, but also with the Green Bay Packers, and sometimes these playoff games can come down to the little intricacies of the game, and that's where Mike McCarthy comes up short. And we know this about the Dallas Cowboys. They have not made it to a conference championship game in more than a quarter century since the mid-90s when Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and the boys were straight up balling out. And during that time span, they have come up short in a lot of big moments, and they feel that pressure, and the pressure is on Dallas to win this game. The pressure is not on San Francisco, and I frankly think that San Francisco, you can make the argument they are the better team all around, top to bottom, and I give the coaching mismatch to the Niners in terms of that favorite. So predict the score of Cowboys-Niners. It is going to be a fascinating game, and I think it's one of the more intriguing matchups going into Wild Card Weekend. Just give me some score predictions down in the comment section right now. Also, did you tune into a 49ers versus Rams watch party on Sunday? We had more than 80,000 people join us. It's going to go down as the most watched video in the history of the channel, and in the process, we were able to welcome a bunch of new people to the faithful family here at Chat Sports as new subscribers of the 49ers Report. 1,300 subs in the span of just a few hours, straight up ridiculous. And in the process, we were able to surpass 50,000 subscribers. Next up, we're trying to get to 100K. If you want the best 49ers coverage on the entire internet, just hit that red subscribe button down below. What do we do here on the 49ers Report? Free daily videos, live shows, watch parties, and we bring you news and rumors in an informative and entertaining way. Quarterback matchup now. Dak Prescott wasn't the same guy in the back half of the year, but I'll tell you this. His numbers, really good this year. Completed almost 69% of his passes, threw for more than 4,400 yards, 37 touchdowns to 10 picks, one of the best seasons of any quarterback in the history of the Cowboys. As for Jimmy Garoppolo, the numbers not even close, but Garoppolo, as I talked about, you have to give him credit for how he was able to rebound and show that mental fortitude yesterday, because it did not look pretty early. I was calling for Trey Lance to get into that game, especially with Trent Williams out with that elbow injury. The 49ers offensive line couldn't protect Garoppolo. He looked somewhat limited. I wanted to see a more mobile quarterback out there, but the experience of Jimmy G and him playing in a bunch of big games really did end up being a big talking point and a big kind of turning factor in that game yesterday. 68% completion percentage throughout the regular season for Jimmy G, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 picks. But you're not going to throw for a bunch of touchdowns when the calling card for Kyle Shanahan's offense is toting the rock and running the football. Pick a quarterback who you would have or want to win a playoff game, and this playoff game on Sunday in the shadows of the city of Dallas, where I'm coming to you from right now because that's where our Chat Sports studios are. In enemy territory, baby. I'm going to be supporting the Niners all throughout this week. You better believe it. Pick a quarterback. Type DP for Dak Prescott. Don't get weird with that. I know some of you might get perverted. You know what I'm saying. Or go with JG and Jimmy Garoppolo. As for the latest Trent Williams injury update. So a lot of people ask me, Chase, when did this elbow injury happen? Happened against the Houston Texans, and throughout the week he was listed on the injury report. And prior to that game against the Los Angeles Rams, the news was made official that Trent Williams was not going to be able to give it a go. And on his 24th birthday, it was Jalen Moore who got the start at left tackle. He didn't last long in that matchup. Instead, it was Colton McKivitz, the journeyman offensive lineman, who got the start at left tackle. And he wasn't good, nor was Jalen Moore. And the left side of that 49ers offensive line was not good. Now, if you can't have Trent Williams in this game on Sunday, it is going to be a massive storyline for a multitude of reasons. Dallas's defensive line and their ability to rush the passer is truly elite. You have Micah Parsons, you have DeMarcus Lawrence, you have Randy Gregory. That defensive line, led by defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who has done a fabulous job this year reviving this Cowboys defense, is very, very good. So if Trent Williams cannot go, that is going to be another big loss for San Francisco. This is something we'll continue to monitor all throughout the week. Not much of an update after that game against the Rams, but certainly something that we will be discussing and updating you with all throughout the week. Couple matchups to look for. Deebo Samuel against Diggs. That is going to be a terrific matchup, wide receiver against cornerback. I mean, Diggs went on to have one of the best seasons that a cornerback has had in recent memory. He is a ball hawk. Sometimes he gambles, and he's going to be matched up throughout that game against Deebo Samuel, who is going to be lined up at running back. He's going to get some jet sweeps, some bubble screens. He's going to run some crossers, some deep routes as well. Niners want to obviously get Deebo involved. They're going to have to do so against Trevon Diggs. Brandon Ayuk, because of that, and Diggs being up against Deebo Samuel, is going to have ample opportunities to continue to prove his worth. And how about the comeback story for Brandon Ayuk throughout 2021? Got off to a rocky start, but he has been a pivotal component of this Niners offense the whole back half of the season. He was great against the Houston Texans, some big plays again against the Los Angeles Rams. I expect that to be the case again against Dallas. George Kittle, last couple of weeks after he went on that torrid pace after coming off IR, has been somewhat silent. I'd really like to see San Francisco utilize him. Sometimes Dallas can be exploited when they're going up against a very good tight end because sometimes their linebacker play can be subpar. How do you take advantage of that? You run George Kittle down the seam, some of those corner routes and out routes. Find a way to get him involved because I do think that he can exploit some mismatches against Dallas. Also something to continue to monitor. Mitch Wishnowsky, the punter for San Francisco, got straight up lit up on punt coverage yesterday, and he was on the field kind of motionless for a little while, went off the field into concussion protocol. Now, you can survive without a punter, although special teams, huge in the NFL playoffs, but Mitch Wishnowsky is also the holder. So who replaced him yesterday? Kyle Juszczyk, the ultimate Swiss Army knife, in addition to Deebo Samuel. Juszczyk was the holder, did a great job because the Niners had a couple of really important field goals that Robbie Gould was able to knock through, but that's just something else that we're going to continue to monitor all throughout this week. Before we get out of here, more than 80,000 people joined us for that 49ers-Rams watch party. We were able to surpass 50,000 subscribers. We're, of course, going to be doing another watch party on Sunday in what I believe could be a Niners upset to get them into the second round of the NFL playoffs. Coverage all throughout this week, the best coverage on YouTube. So if you want to join the party, hit that red subscribe button down below because nobody's doing it better than we're doing it here on the 49ers Report.